Welcome to 21st Sports Recap and Reaction for Game 1 of the ALDS between the Texas Rangers and the Toronto Blue Jays, played October 8th, 2015. We're going to go over every at-bat, and we're going to go over the stats, and we're going to give our breakdown and analysis. So on the mound for Texas, Yovani Gallardo, and on the mound for Toronto, David Price. And to start things off, Deshields was the first batter. He would line out. Chu walked, and then Beltre walked. So he had two on and just one out as Prince Fielder came to the plate, and he grounded into a double play. So that did it for the top of the first. Now on to the bottom of the first. Gallardo on the mound for Texas, and he would set down the side in order as he retired Revere, Donaldson, and Batista. Revere and Donaldson flew out, and then Batista popped out. And so that would do it for the first inning. So now on to the top of the second. Price would set down the side in order as he struck out the side, striking out Napoli, Hamilton, and Andros. So now we go to the bottom of the second, and Gallardo would set down the side in order yet again as he retired the first six batters, as he got Encarnacion to fly out, Tulowitzki to ground out, and Smoke to ground out. So that did it for the second inning. Now on to the top of the third. Price still on the mound for the Jays, and he hit Odor. So Odor takes first, and then Robinson Chirinos grounded out, but Odor had advanced to second. Delino Deshields hit a single to right, and Odor scored to put the first run on the scoreboard in this game as the Rangers led 1-0 over the Blue Jays. So now Chu would ground out and move Deshields to second, and then Adrian Beltre hit a single a little to the right of second base to center field as it went into the outfield, and Deshields scored, and it was now 2-0 Texas over Toronto. Fielder would ground out, and that would close the top half of the third, but Beltre had injured his back when he hit that single and got that RBI that brought in Deshields, and he would end up leaving the game. And so Alberto was in at third base on the defensive substitution. Gallardo still on the mound for Texas in the bottom of the third, and he would set down the side in order for the third straight inning as he retired the first 9 batters that he saw in this game, as he got Martin, Goins, and Pilar all to ground out in the bottom of the third. So now he went to the top of the fourth, and Price would set down the side in order, striking out Napoli, then getting Hamilton to pop out, and Andros flew out, and so we're headed to the bottom of the fourth. So now Gallardo still on the mound, and Ben Revere got a leadoff single, as that was the first hit of the game for Toronto, as Gallardo had retired the first 9 batters at this point before letting up that single. Donaldson then walked. Now you had 2 on, no out for Batista. Batista hit into a fielder's choice, and so then Revere was at third. Donaldson was out at second, and on the play, he kind of hit his head on the thigh of Odor, and so he didn't leave the game just yet. He would end up leaving the game later on, but he passed his concussion test and should be available for game 2. But here in this game, Encarnacion would then hit a little dribbler in the infield, and Revere scored, and he was safe at first, and Batista was safe at second. So Alberto tried to field that one, but as I said, Revere with his speed had already scored, and Encarnacion was safe at first. Of course, Alberto was in there instead of Beltre, who had injured his back. He already had an injured finger on his glove hand. And of course, Beltre is one of the best defensive third basemen in the game, but he was not in there for that play because of the injury. And so we had another run scored in the game, the first run for the Blue Jays, as it was now a 1-run lead for the Rangers with a score 2-1 Texas over Toronto. Tulowitzki would then fly out. Batista moved over to third, but then Smoke struck out, and that brought the fourth to a close, but not after the Blue Jays had scored a run. So now in the top of the fifth, Odor was hit by a pitch. This is the second time Odor was hit by a pitch in this game, and this time Robinson Chirinos hit a 2-run shot, and it brought in Odor, obviously, and now it was 4-1 as the Rangers extended their lead to 3 runs over the Blue Jays. Deshields then bunted and grounded out to the pitcher. Chu then grounded out, and so did Alberto. So the next 3 batters were retired by Price, but not after letting up that 2-run shot to Chirinos that drove in Odor. So now on to the bottom of the 5th. Gallardo still on the mound for Texas, and Russell Martin leads off the inning with a double. Goins then grounded out, but that moved Martin over to third. Then Kevin Pillar hit a double, and that brought Martin in, and it was now 4-2 as the Blue Jays cut the Rangers' lead to 2 runs here in the bottom of the 5th. Revere then grounded out. That moved Pillar to third. Carrera now pinch hit for Donaldson as he officially came out of the game. As I said, he had injured his head when he was sliding into second base in the bottom of the 4th. And so then Carrera would ground out. So that brought the 5th to an end. So now on the top of the 6th, Price still on the mound. Pennington in at third base for the Jays in substitution at Donaldson. And Price would set down the side in the order in the 6th as he got Fielder to pop out. Napoli lined out, and Josh Hamilton struck out. So now on to the bottom of the 6th, and Keone Kela would come in to relieve Gallardo. Kela, I've heard it said both ways. But he let up a home run to the first batter he saw as Jose Bautista took him deep 429 feet, and it was back to a 1-run game with the score Texas 4, Toronto 3. So Bautista brought him within a run, but then Kela retired the next 3 batters as he got Encarnacion to ground out, Tulowitzki flew out, and then Smoke struck out for the second time in this game. So that brought us to the top of the 7th. David Price still on the mound, and he got Andros to fly out, but then Rougned Odor hit a home run. He had a laser beam over the right field wall, just right over the wall, 385 feet, and Odor made it a 2-run lead for Texas again, now with the score Texas 5, Toronto 3. So then Chirinos popped out, and then Deshields hit a double, and he actually ended up getting third base on an error by Ben Revere. The ball had actually initially kind of bounced off his glove as he just missed the catch, but that wasn't the error. He lost the ball in the lights. Where the error was that he bobbled the ball after not getting the catch. So that's why it was a double. It was scored a double, but then with the bobble after, picking it up, and then that got Deshields to third on that error. So now Chu came up and he flew out, and that brought the top of the 7th to a close. So it's on to the 7th inning stretch, and in the bottom of the 7th, Jake Diekman would come in to relieve Kela, and Stubbs would be in center field now, and Diekman would set the side down in order, striking out Russell Martin, grounding out Goins, and then Pillar flew out. So now on to the top of the 8th, Brett Cecil in for David Price. Alberto grounded out. Prince Fielder, Cecil was the pitcher. I thought it was funny that Cecil was pitching a Fielder and Fielder's dad is Cecil Fielder. But Prince Fielder struck out, Napoli walked, and then Hamilton grounded out, and that brought the top of the 8th to a close. So now on the bottom of the 8th, Jake Diekman still on the mound for Texas, and he'd set down the side in order for the second straight inning as he retired all 6 batters that he faced in this game. So he got Revere to ground out, Pennington flew out, and Bautista fouled out to first. And Moreland was in at first base on defense at this point for Fielder. So now in the top of the 9th, Aaron Sanchez would come in to relieve Cecil. Pompey in right on defense. Andros would strike out. Odor then flew out, and Chirinos grounded out as Sanchez set the side down in order, and we were headed to the bottom of the 9th. So Sam Dyson would come in to relieve Diekman, as Diekman had retired all 6 batters, did a good job of setting things up as Dyson now came in to save the game, as it was a 2-run game, 5-3 in the bottom of the 9th. Venable in on defense in left field, and Encarnacion led off with a single, so 1 on, no out for Tulowitzki. Tulowitzki struck out, so 1 on, 1 out for Smoke. Smoke grounded into a fielder's choice, and it was quite a play by Odor. Instead of going for the double play trying to tag Encarnacion, he actually ended up flipping it over his head to second base for the force out. as he got the lead runner out. And so now it's 2 outs, 1 on, as Smoke ended up getting first base. They ended up letting Smoke take second on a fielder's indifference, and Russell Martin was at the plate representing the final out and the tying run, and he grounded into a fielder's choice to third, and Alberto made a nice play, and he tagged out Smoke, and this game came to a close as the Texas Rangers take Game 1 in the ALDS against the Toronto Blue Jays in Toronto, 5-3. So quite a performance by Gallardo. Not a lot of strikeouts, only 1 strikeout, 1 walk, 2 earned runs, and 4 hits in 5 innings. But it's really the bullpen of Texas. Kela did let up the 1 run in the 1 inning that he pitched. He had 1 strikeout and 1 hit. It was that home run that he let up to Batista. It was the first batter he saw, but then he settled in. And Diekman, of course, a great performance by Diekman as he retired all 6 batters he saw in the 2 innings he pitched in the 7th and 8th, striking out 1 batter. And then Sam Dyson comes in to close it out. He did allow a hit, the leadoff hit, the single to Encarnacion, but then he struck out a batter to Lewitsky, and he ended up getting out of the inning unscathed and picking up the save. So nice pitching by that bullpen, and Gallardo did the job too, as he only allowed 2 runs, and that was good enough, as the Rangers were able to score 5. Of course, 4 of the runs scored by the Rangers were by Odor and Chirinos, as Odor crossed the plate 3 times, both times when he was hit by the pitch, and of course when he hit that solo shot as well. And Chirinos had that 2-run shot that drove Odor in, and Deshields had the other RBI, as he was 2 for 4 in this game, and he also crossed the plate once as well, as he represented that other run. So 3 out of the 5 RBIs for Odor and Chirinos, and 4 out of the 5 runs by Odor and Chirinos. And on the other side for the Blue Jays, David Price. He's now 0-6 in the postseason. Came into the game obviously 0-5, and now he gets his 6th loss. He's not gotten a win in the postseason with the Rays, with the Tigers, and now with the Jays. 7 innings pitched, but he allowed 5 runs, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, 5 hits. And that's the thing about Price, he looked good, except when he didn't. He did a good job, except for when he was letting up those home runs and hitting Odor. He kept hitting Odor. Odor's not a big target. How do you hit that guy? He's so small. And then Odor, though, he's got quite the bat speed. He turned around real quick on that one that he sent over the right field fence that got out in a hurry. As they showed, it was just 3.4 seconds hang time as that thing flew over the right field fence. And, good relief pitching, though, by the Blue Jays, by Cecil and Sanchez, as they didn't allow any hits or any runs. So each pitched 1 inning respectively, and they each had 1 strikeout. Of course, Cecil also had a walk. But the Blue Jays, not a lot of offense for a team that came into the game with 232 home runs in the regular season. They had 120 home runs just between Donaldson, Batista, and Encarnacion, as Donaldson had 41, Batista 40, and Encarnacion 39 home runs this season. But in this game, only Batista went deep. And Donaldson, of course, he left the game early on because of that potential head injury. Of course, as I said, he did pass the concussion tests, and he should be available. They say he's day-to-day, but I would imagine he'd be out there to play Game 2. Definitely, I wouldn't see him missing more than 1 game and being out there for Game 3. Like I said, I would imagine he'll be out there for Game 2. We'll see, though, as that draws near. And for the Blue Jays, the only batter that got more than 1 hit was Encarnacion, 2 for 4. He did have an RBI. Batista was 1 for 4 with a home run. Of course, the RBI and the run. Revere 1 for 4 as he crossed the plate once in this game. Pilar 1 for 3 with that double, that RBI double that drove in Martin. And Martin, of course, 1 for 4 as he scored a run. Smoke with the 2 strikeouts. Napoli struck out twice on the other side, and so did Hamilton and Andrews. Like I said, it was the bottom of the lineup that's got a lot of offense over on the Texas side, as well as both these teams brought a lot of offense into this game. They put up a total of 8 runs, but it was the unlikely heroes. That's what happens in the postseason. It's the guys that you don't expect that come up big, especially, in this Texas lineup, the 8-9 hitters, the second baseman Odor, and then the catcher Chirinos. Of course, catcher, in my opinion, is one of the more underrated positions for sure. It's one of the most important positions without a doubt. It has the most influence on the defense along with its impact on offense. And Russell Martin, he also, he was 1-for-4. So we saw the catchers getting things done, but the other guys that usually produce, not so much. This is really more so with Donaldson getting injured. That kind of hurt the Blue Jays' power alley there in their 2, 3, 4 spots. But with Texas, they come away with a win, but they're going to need some more production, out of like Chu and, of course, Fielder and Hamilton, both going 0-for-4, Chu 0-for-3, and Napoli 0-for-3. But they find a way to get it done. Even Andros 0-for-4. So they do get the win, but they got to get some more offense. The Blue Jays, they've got that power, and they can definitely come back. It's 1-0 at this point, but it's still anyone's series, although it is a best of 5, so they can't afford to go down 0-2. It'll be interesting to see what happens in Game 2. But Texas, with the timely hitting, the unlikely heroes, they get it done almost a little bit of small ball there with the, getting on base with the hit by pitch. Of course, really that's just Price, just 5 earned runs, and that's not going to get the job done as he continues to have his postseason struggles. He's kind of becoming like the Peyton Manning or the Tony Romo of baseball. Of course, Manning was able to overcome that. Will Price be able to? We'll see if he gets another shot this series. He may not, but we shall see. But let me know what you think in the comments section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It's greatly appreciated. Hope you had a good day and had a good week, and have a good weekend, and enjoy all the sports.